old Leichhardt Oval on Gadigal land in inner Sydney for this round of 16 clash between the NPL New South Wales champions, APIA Leichhardt, and the 2018 Australia Cup winners, Sydney FC. It has been a record-breaking season for the home side, APIA Leichhardt, champions in the NPL men, champion in the women's. They're in to the NPL Cup final competitions in both the men's and the women. And a chance here for Franco Parisi's side to cause a third massive cup set in their club's history and knock off the big dogs in town, Sydney FC, semi-finalists, after a great finish to a difficult season under Steve Corica last year in the A-League. Conditions, however, far from ideal for watching football at Leichhardt Oval after a wonderful start to the day and warm, sunny conditions. It all turned at about 2 p.m. and it has been thunder and lightning ever since. For APIA coach Franco Parisi, 4 changes from the side that beat Goulburn Valley Suns 4-1 in the round of 32. Anthony Buzanis comes in for the former Sydney FC keeper, the veteran Ivan Nachevsky. Temba Muata Malo and Michael Kuta return in defence. 19-year-old Franco Farinella is alongside captain Adrian Ukino and joint top scorer Jack Armson in midfield, while the American Jason Romero leads the line in attack. And for Steve Corica's Sydney FC, just the one change to the 2018 Cup winners. Steve Corica welcoming back Jack Rodwell to the side. There's still no Ryan Grant nursing a quad strain, and Max Burgess serves the second of a 2-match suspension after his red card against Melbourne City in the semis. But plenty of firepower up front. Joe Lolly, Robert Mack and Patrick Wood in the front three for the Sky Blues. Sean Simons wearing the number 16. He scored the winning penalty against Sydney Olympic in the 7th round to qualify them for the main draw, and he was on the score sheet again along with his brother at the weekend in the 3-1 win over St George that clinched the title for the first time since 2017. I'm talking about heroes. Andrew Redmayne, not only for the Socceroos of course, but for Sydney FC. It was his penalty save and then penalty goal that saw Sydney FC prevail against the Central Coast Mariners for the second year in a row after an identical 3-3 draw against the Mariners at the same stage of the competition the year before. Redmayne also in the running for Australian Dad of the Year. Hope you all got your votes in. I think it closed yesterday. The chance to vote for Andrew Redmayne. Franco Parisi, the APIA club legend. He also spent time in the Netherlands and in Switzerland as well as in Australia with the Jets, where he scored against the Perth Glory and the Central Coast Mariners, as well as a stint with the New Zealand Kings as well. But he is APIA through and through. And he has masterminded a fantastic season. There's Steve Corica, the 50-year-old. Was under immense pressure the last season and a half. Responded with a fantastic run to the semis, and now looking to rebuild the side this season. Sean Evans is our man in the middle. He's being assisted by Owen Goldrick and Brad Wright. Sam Kelly is the 4th official. And we are underway in the round of 16. The chance for both of these sides to qualify for the quarterfinals. And in Andy Harper, we have a favourite and an underdog, and apocalyptic conditions which just set the scene perfectly for potentially another massive cup set.
Well, I think APIA are primed, actually. And they've done the job at this venue to 2 other A-League heavyweights in the Australia Cup. Wanderers were done by APIA here, and victory in probably one of the more rousing cup nights a couple of years ago. And to add Sydney to that list would be quite something. And I think they can do it tonight. It's going to be a fascinating game.
Well, it was that Tainan Diaz goal back in 2021 that knocked out the Wanderers. 3-2 over Melbourne victory in 2018. And a new look Sydney FC, you'd have to say, because gone is Alex Wilkinson, the fixture at the back. There's also no Diego Carballo, the Spanish fullback from last season. Paulo Retre, Adam Lafondra, Thomas Hewitt-Bell and James Donachie are in action this evening, but for Western United, and Alex Parsons has returned to Brisbane Roar. Well, we do have a host of youngsters who have signed on, a couple of them starting as well. We've got Keely Adamson at right back this evening, and we've got a certain Corey Holman as well, who started the last game against the Mariners in the middle of the park. Older brother and younger brother of A-League Holmans in the men's and women's competition as well. Jack Rodwell coming in for Aaron Gerd is the only change to Sydney FC. Yet to make that big off-season signing that we've become accustomed to, mind you. In Joe Lolley and Robert Mack, they have two of their headline players from last season backing up again. There is Keely Adamson, we just saw there. Now we have an early goal, Mount Druitt versus Heidelberg, and it's Heidelberg who've gone ahead. The number 14, Kane Shepherd, inside the opening 5 minutes. So Heidelberg on the road and in front. And the weather there, it's a bit further west in Sydney, Mount Druitt, but it is teeming down there as well in that contest. Caceres straightening up. It's a lovely little touch for Lolley into the area, but the flag was up for offside against the Englishman.
Well, nice little passage from Sydney, settled well, good penetration from Caceres, and Joe Lolley just straying offside. Good season needed from Lolley. Was great in his inaugural A-League experience last year. And Robbie Mack forms a very tidy partnership.
And here's a chance for APIA with Jason Romero. And you could see the Sydney FC players were calling for the offside flag that wasn't forthcoming.
A bit sluggish, Romero, to start this match. I mean, he's got in behind the Sydney defence and had a little bit of work to do, but it was a favourable bounce and he was in a good position. Pretty sluggish with that opportunity.
One of several APIA players with A-League experience. Last term with MacArthur under Mile Sturjovski, came in as an injury replacement, just the one goal in that time. Came against Melbourne City in a 1-1 draw. He also scored twice against the Goulburn Valley Suns in the last round of the Cup.
There's plenty of heat in the early pressure from both teams, which is good. Sydney really testing APIA's ability to control and move the ball under close examination, and just holding on that front. But when they get the chance as well, they're looking to make sure Sydney can't settle.
Luke Bratton with the captain's armband, turning one way then the other, coming deep to pick up the ball from Jake Gerdrud Reich, who's in the centre of defence alongside Jack Rodwell. His appearances last season were in the centre of midfield. The Girdwood right. Now Robbie Mack. Patrick Wood. Preferred to Jaden Kucharski in the starting 11. He's just signed a new one-year contract extension today. Jaden Kucharski, who was NPL Player of the Year 2 years ago. And of course, scored that fantastic 123rd minute equaliser against the Mariners to send that game into that epic penalty shootout. It's why Sydney FC have even made it this far in the competition. His young teenage teammate, the club announced today, Adrian Segicic, has just signed a season-long loan in the Dutch second division with FC Dordrecht, where a certain Patrick Leichhardt is assistant coach. So the Sydney FC connections still working their magic as Romero loses out. Caceres, one for Lolly to chase. Overhit, no problem for Temba Muatamalo, one of the players with A-League experience. On this side, he was with the Sydney FC. Made one A-League appearance alongside a certain Alessandro Del Piero back in 2014 in a 2-0 win against the Jets. Yes, foul, says the referee. It was Jack Stewart who turned inside from the right wing before the foul on Jack Armson. Farinella, the teenage midfielder for APIA, gets it back from Joel King, who thought Corey Brown was going to take over there. Corey Holman, rather. Take over. He does now. Armson returning the foul in favour. Girdwood Reich with Adamson. Looking down the line for Lolly. There was a slip there by Michael Kuta. One goal in 21 appearances in the NPL this season for Kuta as APIA crowned New South Wales champions for the 6th time in their history, the first since 2017. Foul on Adamson. It's a very attacking free kick to Sydney FC here. Josh Simons giving away the foul, the 29-year-old. He's the younger brother of Sean Simons. Speaking of brothers, that's Dean Bouzanis' brother, Anthony, in goal. He was also on the books of Sydney FC. Never featured in an A-League match for the Sky Blues. Now he's trying to keep them out. For Bratton here, who tries to steer it into the bottom corner. Lolly's little square pass, and it almost came off for Sydney FC. Well defended by APIA. Farinelli dispossessed. Duquino with a strong challenge. The number 18, the APIA captain.
They're playing with good purpose, Sydney. They sense, I think, the difficulty that APIA present tonight. Have been very, very strong in closing APIA down and very physical in trying to burst through, literally on that occasion. Luke Bratton and drawing the foul.
Socceroo Joel King, part of that World Cup squad. Although didn't feature, he returned from OB Club in Denmark on loan last season, has since returned permanently to Sydney FC, the left back. Is replacing Diego Caballo, who's moved on, one of several players, you have to say, one of several senior players as well to have moved on from the club during the off-season. Stewart, a heavy touch, gets away from him. Holman with Wood, able to turn. Oh, the shot was mishit. I thought for a moment it might bobble past Bouzanis, but the keeper makes the save.
Both players in the lead-up losing their footing there. It was like a bit of ice skating. Ball squirts through to Patrick Wood. He didn't make the most of that shot. He couldn't get a purchase. Cooter had slipped over, which opened the way for Patrick Wood. What a great opening for Sydney.
Big season for Patrick Wood, who looked to fill the boots of Adam Lafondra early last season when he was injured. Scored a couple of early goals, but didn't really go on with it. Still just 20 years of age, mind you. Rodwell. Back to Redmayne. Holman. Younger brother of Jake at MacArthur. As that ball just asking too much of Pat Wood. Oh, that's been turned over. Loose. Here's Lolly. Oh, a heavy touch. Bouzanis charging in, and Lolly can't keep his feet. And the referee points to a goal kick.
Well, it's a comedy of errors from both teams, and no one really could get set. Heavy touch from Lolly. He lost his balance on the run through and then stumbled quite comically. In the end, just can't get there. There's a tap in for Joe if he could have maintained his feet. It was a poor pass out from Bouzanis. Lions losing possession. The cards all fell from an APIA viewpoint, and Sydney couldn't capitalise.
Well, the 43-year-old Ivan Nichevsky, like Bouzanis, former Sydney FC. Oh, it's the turn of Moata Malo to get caught in possession. Here's Josh Simons. A good ball up the line for brother Sean. Girdwood Reich clearing the danger. Well, the conditions don't make it easy, but certainly confidence and nerves shouldn't really be an issue for this APIA side, who have swept all before them this season. They take on Sydney United in the Waratah Cup final for the men on the same day that the women, also champions this year, take on the Northern Tigers in the Sapphire Cup final. Both of those games to be played here at Leichhardt Oval on the 10th of September.
Oh, it's quite amazing what APIA have achieved this season. Men and women champions. In the final of, which virtually the state knockout cup. Of course, to their credit, the Waratah Cup is the state culmination of all the teams progressing as far as they could in the Australia Cup. A similar situation in Victoria with the Doherty Cup. That state federation runs its knockout competition through to its natural conclusion, which I think is fantastic given the history of the existing competitions, and then the Australia Cup, of course, provides a double opportunity. In this case for APIA, they've got to get through Sydney tonight to keep this particular flame flickering. They've been second best so far. Goal otherwise not seriously challenged.
APIA, who actually won the 1966 Australia Cup. Way back in its very first guise. Simons, who's sliding, and Sydney FC have won it back. Really treacherous conditions at the moment for both sides.
Well, really, players shouldn't be having this much difficulty with their footwork. Sure.
Well, there has been a lot of rain.
Well, there's no... Come on, Robbie. I mean, the grounds get the sprinkler treatment before every football match. It's not been significantly more than that. The ball's rolling nicely. They need to get them. The touch is just heavy. That's half the problem.
There's a couple of nice touches right through the middle of the park from Stewart. Romero double teamed by Girdwood, Reich and Adamson. Keely Adamson, the number 27, who made his debut for Sydney FC against the Mariners, and has held his position at right back, while Ryan Grant is still nursing that quad strain. Told Daniel Garb in the pre-game show that he should be right should Sydney FC make it through to the next round. No way through. Barmson, and now Robbie Mack. Outside of the boot pass is perfectly weighted for Lolly. There's nobody in the middle. In fact, it was Wood for Lolly now. A little 1-2 with Mack. Caceres was also forward. And it is a dangerous attacking quartet for Sydney FC. So that goal ruled out for offside, so no opening goal for Western United. Riku Danzaki there, the former Brisbane Roar player, back in Australia. Guatemala with Simons. Right up to date with all the scores in the two other matches. That was Gold Coast Knights versus Western United. There's also the Mount Druitt Town Rangers, who are trailing by 1-0 against Heidelberg. From Melbourne, Brisbane Roar 5-0 winners over Sydney United. Melbourne City 3-0 winners over the Knicks. Western Sydney 5-1 over Adelaide United yesterday in a real demonstration. Metro Stars 1-0 winners over the Inter Lions, and the Melbourne Knights 2-0 winners yesterday as well. Oh, as Simons is caught by Mack. And Sean Evans has the yellow card out for the Slovak striker.
Yeah, fair enough too. He left his feet pretty early.
Well, let's head down to Daniel Garb, who's with us this evening. How is it down there pitch side, Garby?
It's a whole lot better than it was at the start of the game, Robbie. Good evening to you. The rain has subsided a fair bit, just a mild drizzle at the moment, which is far more enjoyable for everyone here than it was at the start of the game. It hasn't bothered the Sydney FC fans. Credit them. It feels like the full Cove is in the house, and they are in full voice, bouncing, singing as if we're in the cut and thrust of the A-League season. Wonderful to see, considering the weather that has impacted the start of this game tonight. And speaking to a lot of Sydney FC fans, along with this game, there was one other subject they wanted to talk about, and that was the pending arrival, if you believe the reports, of a Brazilian striker, Fabio Gomes. They need a new man up front on loan from Atletico Mineiro is the report. So Sydney FC fans very excited by that speculation. Of course, we await confirmation.
Fantastic, Garby. Yes, that will certainly put pressure on those attacking positions as well. Fabio Gomes. Central Coast Mariners announcing the arrival of a Colombian striker today as well in their ranks. Should that be Fabio Gomes?
No.
return from Stewart. Armson. Aquino just slipping.
If there is any truth to that rumour, propagated by our own Daniel Garb. He's in the Mark Yanko register, the Austrian international who he played for Sydney, very tall but still elegant player. He's listed at 1.92 m, Fabio Gomez. Anyway, let's see if that one comes to any sort of fruition. At the moment, it's Patrick Wood's job, along with Joe Lolly, to get over the top of this very stubborn APIA team. 20 minutes have gone. There have been no chances created. There have been a couple of half opportunities because people have slipped over or turned possession over in defence. No real clear chances created by either side of note.
Here's Jack Rodwell with his first outing of the season, his second with Sydney FC after a first season in Australia with the Western Sydney Wanderers. Lolly with Caceres, but it's well defended. Aquino, the captain for APIA, and a good switch of play. Rodwell, great pace to get across there against Jack Stewart. And now Girdwood Reich with Joel King. And Sydney play their way out of trouble.
Yeah, well, APIA shouldn't have let them play out of the way, out of trouble there. Jack Stewart couldn't get onto the end of this. This is a good turn of pace from Rodwell, though, defensively. Timed it nicely. And they had 4 players there, APIA, as Sydney took possession, and they just shouldn't have let them play out as they did. And now Sydney settle, carrying the ball into APIA territory. Putting more pressure on the home team.
And Bratton able to find Joe Lolly on that far side. Accelerated running at Kuta, who did just enough and was helped out by Simons. He's gone down holding his head there. Joe Lolly as well. Was it a knock on the nose or the forehead when he ran in to Michael Kuta? Oh, clash of heads, very much. Both players tried to keep going, but Joe Lolly clearly came off second best. Baronella, 19-year-old, in the middle of the park. Just the one goal in the Premier League this season. Breakthrough year, though. Came off the bench against Goulburn Valley Suns. You'll note the Italian name. This club, founded by Italian immigrants back in 1954. Strong Scottish influence back in its early years as well, as the flag is up for offside. And of course, champions of Australia in 1987 under the direction of a certain Rally Rasic. The famous Socceroos coach. Switch of play from Askew. Little 1-2, Romero, that's nicely done. The cross in, Redmayne stretching, it was Kuta, the left back, getting forward. And Redmayne does well.
Yeah, good hands from Andrew Redmayne. It might have been a nasty one. Good attack from APIA. He's just struggled to get some players really driving into the box when the opportunity was in its earlier moments. As it was, Askew managed to get the ball in down the right-hand side and hit a nasty cross from a Sydney viewpoint. Very well diffused from by Andrew Redmayne.
Goodwood Reich. Lovely first-time ball from Adamson for Lolly, who had Pat Wood in the middle, waiting for it. It didn't come.
Well, he's been energetic so far. Joe Lolly has put himself in some nice positions. He's touched a little off compared to his very high standards normally.
Lovely turn from Caceres, and then dinking the ball up to the back post with Robbie Mack. The slip from Simons, just managed to get it clear. Now Goodwood Reich with Rodwell. Sydney can try and start to turn up the ante a little bit here. Nice turn from Mack. Oh, it's a great ball, lifted over the side for Adamson, down that right wing. Well defended by Sean Simons.
That's a good bit of work from Adamson. It's a lovely ball from Robbie Mack, as you say. And he tried to put a trick on to beat that defender, and you appreciate the endeavour, congratulate the youngster. Bit of enterprise didn't quite come off, but Sydney set and come again.
There's Adamson again involved. Bratton for Mack. Tries to surprise Bouzanis. He had runners all around him, opted to shoot. In the end, comfortable for the APIA keeper. Caceres again with Lolly, gets it back. Anthony Caceres. The early ball for Patrick Wood, dealt with by Guatemala. Rodwell's header. Simons with Aquino, who claims he was clipped by Caceres, and Adrian Aquino gets the call his way. Came through the ranks at APIA before heading as a youngster to Frosinone in Italy, where he played in the second division a decade ago. Spent a season on loan at San Giovanese before returning to Australia. And the real APIA legend, who's enjoyed a crowning season this year as well with that championship under Franco Parisi. Corey Holman. Great switch of play for Jason Romero. Was APIA's top scorer 2 seasons ago, before the move to MacArthur, as the number 14, Jack Armson, trying the shot on the turn.
He's a good attacking midfielder, Jack Armson. Expected better, having made that space, and he had players in support as well. It's a poor effort in the end, with a really nice bit of lead-up, unfortunately for him and his team, APIA.
Just 24 years of age, Jack Armson. Spent a year at the Jets in the A-League, but did not play as it's offside against Pat Wood. 14 goals this season in 28 appearances. Some way behind Alek Buraszewski, the top scorer with 28 in the NPL this season for Rockdale. Roy O'Donovan with 18. In second place in the scoring charts. Jason Romero with 6 in the league and 13 appearances this term. Half an hour gone. Sydney FC with the better of the chances. 4 shots to 1, with 3 on target so far. But we're still scoreless at Leichhardt Oval, the scene of 2 famous cup sets in Australia Cup history. Mind you, Sydney FC are also very familiar with Leichhardt Oval, when Allianz Stadium was being rebuilt. They played 10 A-League matches here. 4 wins, 4 draws, 2 defeats. They've always played Australia Cup matches here as well. There's Romero. I think he tried to leave it under pressure from Rodwell. Appeals for a handball. Sean Simons leading those cries, but Sean Evans unmoved. Oh, if there was a touch, it would have been very, very harsh against Corey Holman. Reich with not the easiest pass back to Andrew Redmayne.
And Jack Thompson was the player just sneaking into Redmayne's field of vision. So he needed to hack away at that ball. It's a tough one for Redmayne, skidding and bouncing a bit higher than he'd anticipated. Good situation for APIA, a bit of pressure. First quarter of the game, strangely, 30 minutes in.
Headed by Joel King. There was a slip by Guatemala. Now Romero. Strength against Caceres. Farinella. With Romero again, the American. Whipping the ball in. Oh, it's not cleared by Girdwood Reich. Josh Simons looking for that little reverse pass for Armson, but no way through. Only just.
Fantastic chance for APIA. Almost looked a little surprised by what opened up for them then. It's a good little spell for the New South Wales NPL champions. Romero hitting a ball in which should have been dealt with. And it just slowed down crucially for APIA at that moment.
Josh Simons, the number 4, who was involved in that chance just seconds ago. Holds on to possession. Nicely played, little 1-2. Now back outside with Stewart. Crosses, it's beyond Rodwell. And Girdwood Reich, rather fortuitously perhaps, finding Bratton and clearing the danger again. Little 1-2 with Askew and Stewart down the right-hand side. Getting in behind Joel King. That big switch of play just overhit towards Keely Adamson.
Great save by the ball kick there. Did you see that?
Tricky conditions.
Oof.
Sign him up. Caceres nipping in, he's done well. Lolly with front position. Kuta has to pull out, now Lolly still. Wants it on his left. And here's Joe Lolly, that was Patrick Wood. Joe Lolly. Coming inside on the left again, and this time Anthony Bruzanis with the save.
A nice cut, Joe Lolly. He's really played with a lot of purpose tonight, Joe Lolly. The effort's been impressive. He's used his body well, just hasn't quite had the Lolly touch at the end of it with his feet. Not far off. APIA would not want Joe Lolly finding that touch anytime soon. Has been the most constant threat for their defence so far.
Strong from Luke Bratton. Aquino came off second best. He tries to run it off. As Simons is scythed down. The run from Keely Adamson. Inside, Lolly couldn't find him. Pat Wood was waiting in the middle.
There's a case in point. Took up a great position. Just ultimately someone like him based on what we saw last year. Just didn't have the answer.
It's just given straight back again by APIA there. 9 minutes before half-time. Holman. Gets it back from Adamson. Jason Romero has been sent tumbling over the sideline. He's asking the question of Sean Evans whether there was to be any more action taken there. Didn't look overly dangerous from Gertwood Reich. It is just a throw for Sydney FC. Bratton back with Gertwood Reich. One in the air by Josh Simons. Farinella looking again for Askew. Brings it under control into the area. Robbie Mack back doing the defending, doing it well.
Very good from Robbie Mack. Nice ball from Farinella. Askew again continues to impress. He just lacked that little bit of zip, I guess, into the box. The conviction and determination to really make that next move there. A definitive one, and it just gave the opportunity for Robbie Mack to slide in and see the ball out for APIA's second corner.
Armson drives it in low.
Which was a nice dress rehearsal for this throw-in.
Askew wants it quickly. Full of confidence. There's the header from Sean Simons. Is saved comfortably by Redmayne. Dakota Askew, the 27-year-old right back, wearing the number 23 for APIA, got his first goal of the season last weekend. The icing on the cake goal against St George to secure the championship. Now we've got another goal between Mount Druitt Town Rangers and Heidelberg United. And it's Heidelberg United who have their second goal. Sean Ellis. Was Ian Ashton with the second goal there for Heidelberg United, who now lead the Mount Druitt Town Rangers by 2-0 just moments before half-time. Still scoreless in the other match this evening between the Gold Coast Knights and Western United. While it's still scoreless here as well at Leichhardt Oval. Joel King gets the better of Jason Romero. Big APIA, number 9, putting the pressure on Luke Bratton. And sees the throw on this near side. Just over 5 minutes to go in the first half. Gertwood Reich. No, Lolly just didn't quite have his footing right as the ball arrived, unable to control. Holman under pressure finds Rodwell. Now Mack. Bratton, a little touch with Adamson, a little pocket of space as well for Mack in that number 10 role. He gets it back again. Guatemala with a good challenge. Lolly won it straight back again. Robbie Mack, he's got space outside with Joel King, who drives it in low. And Patrick Wood, as the flag is up for offside, to spare any blushes. He didn't know too much about it, I don't think.
It wasn't very convincing, was it? APIA stretched. Sydney, on balance, the dominant team in this first half, and looking to ram home that dominance here. It was Patrick Wood who had strayed offside anyway.
It's a nice little touch inside for Armson. Simons comes off second best against Caceres. And the effort from the youngster Corey Holman, just skewing off the left foot and away and out for, in the end, a goal kick.
Quite sure what was being intended there. Might have been the problem. Corey was in two minds himself. Good side at goal. APIA will be content to see it through to half-time. I'd suggest at 0-0 if they can manage it. Sydney a late thrust on the APIA goal with this free kick. Chino with the foul on Caceres.
Ball or player to get past Aquino there. Lolly, cross in, just too high, headed away by Mwatamalo. Lolly again, well defended by Sean Simons. Seven shots to 3 so far in favour of Sydney FC. Josh can't keep brother Sean's heavy touch in play, so it's out for a corner down in front of the stand where the Cove Sydney FC supporters have congregated there behind the goal. Joe Lolly, in it comes. Good ball as well, cleared by Askew. And Cooter at the second attempt. Jack Stewart hooks the ball clear, and Adamson was under pressure there from Romero. Couldn't afford to miss it, didn't. Mack. Caceres and Wood in the middle as Lolly goes past Cooter. He says it was a dive. The referee thought about getting the yellow card and does so now in the final minute of the first half.
Fitting in that sense that it's Joe Lolly who wins the free kick. If Lolly's in his normal touch and forms, APIA would, I'd suggest, be behind by now. He's had a lot of possession. He's earned that possession. And done well. Another yellow card for coach Franco Parisi. He's really been very persistent tonight, Joe Lolly, just without his normal quality at the end. See if we can deliver something here. Split the teams going into the sheds at half-time.
Very good and vocal crowd in attendance as well for this evening's game, given the conditions all afternoon. APIA, a very well patronised semi-professional community club in the Sydney's inner west. 1 minute of stoppage time. We are in that now. As Lolly and Mack stand over this free kick. It is Robert Mack, and only makes it as far as the wall. And Sean Simons. And throw goes APIA's way as well. Be just about the last action of this first half, I suspect. Kuta with the throw up the line. Girdwood Reich. Farinella thumping header forward from Sean Simons in the end. And that will be that at Leichhardt Oval, in which the A-League side, Sydney FC, had the better of the chances. 8 shots in total, 3 on target, but they're being held scoreless at the break by the freshly crowned New South Wales NPL champions, APIA Leichhardt. Half-time, APIA 0, Sydney FC 0.
Robbie said Sydney FC with the best of the chances in that first half, just couldn't ice it in front of goals. Slipped sliding away there at Leichhardt Oval. It's been willing as well. We'll be back to break down all the first half action and bring you the goals from the other games tonight. It is the round of 16 in the Australia Cup. Well, it has been wet and it has been willing. The boys throwing their bodies around, but they're sliding away as well. There's been plenty of that with the rain falling at Leichhardt Oval, sliding around. It's like they're on ice skates some of the time. Maybe get some bigger sprigs in. Welcome to the halftime show. I'm Scott McKinnon, joined by Alex Brosk and Daniel McBreen. What do you make of it so far, Brosky? Your boys look like they're in control. Just struggling at the very end to finish it off and get it into the back of the net. Is that just early days in the season, or bit of those conditions creeping in as well?
Yeah, I think a bit of both. I think you can see both sides. When they get into attacking areas, players are slipping over, or that final touch, final ball is a bit heavy or not weighted properly. So, look, I think it is the conditions. It's been difficult. They'll be more used to it, and I think we'll see a more settled, more flowing game in the second half. But, look, pre-season for Sydney as well, so they're still obviously not there yet. And I think while it stays, 0-0, APIA, they've been well organised. They're not, really giving much away. Sydney have had a few chances, but I think while it stays 0-0, they'll fancy themselves to pitch something.
What do you make about some of the challenges out there as well? I mean, is that something that...
Typical wet weather challenges?
Yes, typical wet weather challenges, but also trying to, I guess, ruffle the feathers of the A-League side out there as well. I mean, they don't just want to...
Yeah, you want to let them know that you're there. You want to, put the doubt in the mind that if they want to turn you one time, if you give them a good challenge, well, they might think twice the next time. So you want to put that in. But they've been playing some good football as well. Sydney's obviously had more possession, more shots, and probably on a drier pitch, some of those occasions where they have turned and looked to get the shot off, the footing's not going to slip away. They might find themselves ahead, but they've got to keep persisting, as Broski said, and adapt to the conditions for the second half.
And it's starting to, ease off that rain, which is good. So hopefully it drains and those guys can get going. Let's have a look at some of the chances, shall we? For APIA Leichhardt, who, as we mentioned, riding high after winning the New South Wales NPL trophy over the weekend. They've had a few little goes, a few shots at it. What, Broski, you're liking what you're seeing from some of their attackers so far? I mean, they haven't really put Redders under much pressure. The most pressure he had was when he skied one in the air and it went over the back.
Yeah, that's right. But look, I think they have enough quality. Uchino in midfield, he's got great distribution. He gets the ball out to your Armson, Stewart, Romero's. These guys have been quite lively, and I think at any moment that that they've got the quality. This was a bit unfortunate here, Rodwell getting across in cover, but they've got the quality that they can hurt Sydney FC. I think, and again, while it stays 0-0, they will fancy their chances. But look, I think Sydney, for the most part, have controlled the game, have moved the ball quite well. It's just in that final third it's been lacking. All
right, well, let's have a look at Sydney FC and how they've had a run at it in that final third. And most of it has come from Joe Lolly, really. He's been up and about, just obviously can't finish it off, Macca, at this stage, but he's been a real energiser bunny for them, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's been looking to get and twist and turn and run at players. You can see there both players, both the defender and attacker, going down. And this is where I think on a night like this you could see an opportunity or a goal come from, where there's a mistake, a slip, a poor touch where it skips off the surface.
Yeah.
And I think Harp said it in the commentary here, it was a calamity of errors from both sides. Just when you thought Sydney had a great opportunity, a heavy touch. And it's just the conditions, I think, are playing a real big part in just a general little bit of sloppiness from both teams. Makes it hard, as we said, difficult to turn, to twist, to find that good combination with a good touch. And you see most of the stuff is on a stretch, on a slide, and off balance. So it's been a tough one.
We saw Paddy Wood have one as well, where he looked like he was over the ball. His foot just slipped out from underneath him, and it ends up being a really weak shot at goal. But for someone like him, I mean, Daniel Garb gave us the info that they're looking to sign potentially a Brazilian striker. I mean, for him, it's got to be an opportunity to do something here on this stage and make it harder for Steve Corica to shift him out of that position.
Yeah, of course, and that's what we mentioned pre-game, that these opportunities you have to take as a young kid, because you know that if they are in the market for a new number 9, a Brazilian, he's going to play. If he's fit, he's going to play, and you need to give the coach reasons to delay that as long as possible. And the only way as a striker is by scoring.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple formula, isn't it? You did that for quite some time, and you stayed up the front, and you're the record holder still, aren't you, for Sydney FC in goals scored?
I was there long enough.
Yes, he knows, of course. He doesn't want to toot his own horn, but here we go. There are the match stats. You can see the possession-wise, Sydney FC right up there with 60%, 8 shots to 3, shots on target 3-1, and they've got the expected goals in their corner as well at 0.35. Do the maths on that as you will. Do you expect it to open up a bit more? And Macca, can you see Sydney FC going on with this one?
Oh, look, I think if they do manage to get a goal, obviously then APIA have to come out and that might create more space. But, I can't, at the moment, I think I said just before we came to half-time, I said I think I can see this one going the whole way.
Go on the distance.
Yeah.
And they've got a specialist in that regard too, with Andrew Redmayne at the back. He loves it. He's probably thriving for it. Can't wait for it. Let's have a look at Mount Druitt and Heidelberg United. Now, Heidelberg burst out of the gates. They got the goal early on, and honestly, guys, we thought from this moment on it was going to be one-way traffic. You got to say, the boys from Mount Druitt, they fought their way back. They had a few chances, but again, the hand in the head in the hands there. Can't believe it, but yeah, look, Kane Shepherd again fires it, bounces off the post. They finish it off there. I mean, you'd expect this to go the way that we expected, don't you think? Because it has been a tough old time for Mount Druitt this season.
It has been, and when it started, we were saying that if Heidelberg get an early one, this could be anything, and that's exactly what happened. So, I mean, for Mount Druitt, not the ideal start, going behind early. They have, to their credit, had a few chances, like you said there, but overall, Heidelberg have been the better team. They've moved it a lot better. They've had more chances, and I think they should go on to a comfortable win.
And we've seen some fierce challenges in that one as well, so that one could get rather spicy. I expect maybe one of the cards to turn red in the second half. The final one, Gold Coast Knights up against Western United. Now, this has been a highly entertaining affair up on the Gold Coast. Every time we looked at our split screen, it was the Knights really challenging, and this was the biggest chance of the first half. Off the post, and a great bit of reflex action saves there from, is that Tom Hewitt-Bell in there from Sydney FC? The backup keeper has got his gig now, and a few opportunities then went the way of Western United. There was one, Riku Danzaki, who looked or was judged to be offside. Jeez, it was touch and go, wasn't it,
It was
Macca?
very close, yeah. Look, Western United have had more of the play, and you see that on there. That must have had some wicked swerve on it. But Western United have had more of the possession, but more of the shots have come actually from Gold Coast. And this is a really entertaining, tough affair. 0-0 probably doesn't really tell the full story of how action-packed it's been at both ends. So I'm expecting to see some goals in this one because there's been some quality play from both teams.
Yeah, some quality saves as well. And we also did notice that Scott McDonald was going off his nana on the sideline as well. So expect that one to get very spicy. The score, though, is 0-0 at this stage. And the weather has cleared. It looks beautiful up there. Yeah, as you said, Macca, Western United with most of the possession. Look at the shots, though. 10 shots to 6, and it's 3-2 in terms of shots on target. Yeah, this one's going to be a spicy one.
Well, I think Brad Inman can't believe that Hewitt-Bell saved that one. I'll still be thinking about that one now. Because it felt obviously come back from the post, but it was a fantastic save, and they probably feel that they should be up 1-0 there.
Got to say, Hewitt-Bell, wow, what a talent. I mean, we've seen how good he is when he's backed up for Sydney FC. Now, we are bringing you all these 3 games. Our feature game is at Leichhardt Oval. That is APIA up against Sydney FC. We've got the Mount Druitt Rangers. They look almost ready to go as well. They're playing against Heidelberg, and the one we were just talking about too is the Gold Coast Knights up against Western United. But let's get down to Daniel Garb, who's with the former APIA Leichhardt coach.
Yeah, thank you. And with Billy McCall, former coach of APIA, now the director of football and a massive fan of the club as well. But the man who led APIA Leichhardt to that famous win in 2018 over the Melbourne Victory in the Australia Cup on this very ground. It must bring back some very special memories, Billy, to be back here.
Very special, and we're hoping for another special one tonight. And I'm confident the boys can do it. And I'm hoping for a 1-0 victory and a goal from Jack Stewart.
What a season it's been. I mean, Franco Parisi in his first in charge led you to the league title. You're in the Waratah Cup final as well, still in the Australia Cup, half-time in the round of 16. Why has it been such a wonderful campaign?
It's been a brilliant year. I've coached Franco Parisi for a number of years, and he wanted to coach. We gave him the opportunity. Him and David DePuzzo have had a fantastic year. We're playing some brilliant football. We've won the league. As you say, we're here tonight. We've got the Waratah Cup, and we want the treble.
Sydney FC have been on top, though, in the first half. How did APIA stay in it and then manage to snatch that winner potentially?
We keep defensively good, and we're going to hit them in the counter-attack. The weather conditions doesn't suit both teams for good football, so it could be an error that could be the decisive factor, and I hope it's Sydney APIA's way.
For your sake, I hope the magic of the cup goes your way as well. Billy McCall, thanks for joining us. Good luck in the second half. Boys, it's not too far away, the second 45.
Thank you, lads. Yep, love that confidence and absolutely love that accent as well. They are making their way onto the pitch. Let's get back to our commentators, Robbie Thompson and Andy Harper. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Scotty. Thank you, gents, for that halftime show. And yes, we are back. The rain has all but abated here at Leichhardt Oval now. Sydney FC being held for the moment by APIA Leichhardt. An APIA side playing at home in front of a solid home crowd given the conditions, and a side full of confidence as well, having crowned New South Wales NPL champions on the weekend with that 3-1 win over St George, crowning off a fantastic season. And as we just heard from former coach Billy McCall, looking for the treble. Well, they've got one of the 3 trophies in the bag so far. The women's section also looking for an historic double as well for APIA this season, also crowned NPL champions. A fantastic year for the club that might just get a little bit better over the next 45 minutes. The second half is underway. It's Sydney FC, the Sky Blues, that get the second stanza up and running. No changes to either side at the halftime break. Andy Harper, as we heard from the former APIA coach Billy McCall, a mistake could settle it in these conditions, but hopefully a little moment of magic as well.
Yeah, well, Sydney will look to reassert their dominance very quickly. There's another player slipping over. I mean, they've had 45. It's really crazy. Now, the conditions, what conditions are we actually talking about here? The pitch looks magnificent. There's no puddles.
There was a lot of rain. There was a lot of rain in the hours leading up to kick-off. But it was Sean Simons who slipped that time. Lolly. Ball back in. Cleared by Askew. For Romero to chase. Keely Adamson, the 20-year-old right back, can only send it into touch. That's a good little ball in behind. And Pat Wood crossed early for a colleague that wasn't there. Sean Simons is under hit. Lolly comes away with it again. Lolly still going, still going. Mack takes over. Lolly again, saved by Bouzanis. And the first chance of the second half comes the way of the A-League side. Jack Rodwell, Jake Girdwood-Reich, with Bratton with Caceres. Rodwell trying to accelerate play over the top, and a good one for Mack, who helps it on the way to Patrick Wood. Laid it off for Joe Lolly, but he couldn't keep his snapshot down.
Yeah, rushed effort. Very good start to the second half for Sydney, really putting APIA under a lot of pressure. The goal has been under siege, certainly compared with the first half. They've been in the danger zone more times already in the opening 2 minutes of this second half, maybe than Sydney did the entirety of the first half, notwithstanding the general dominance that they were enjoying.
Josh Simons with the initial header. Thompson can't take over. Simons there again. And lunging in the number 4.
That's a terrific stretch from Josh Simons. He's a really good player. Never disappointed on any occasion we've been able to watch him.
It's a great little pass from Caceres for Mack, and then just overplaying the ball for Patrick Wood. It wasn't really on.
Well, I think it's actually poor play from Patrick Wood. You know, he wasn't alert to that situation at all. Not on the same wavelength, and Robert Mack actually put the ball in a nice space when there was an opportunity to do it. And Paddy Wood just wasn't anticipating. Gave himself up completely in an offside position where he didn't need to be taking that up.
Buzanis, whose brother Dean plays for Reading in England. Paranella has a couple of touches in the middle of the park. Michael Kuta, who's on a yellow card from the final moments of that first half for a foul on Sydney's danger man, Joe Lolly. Montemalo, kicked off by Lolly again. Inside Caceres. Foul by Armson. And the first booking of the second half. So he joins Kuta and APIA's coach, Franco Parisi. In the book, confirmation of the yellow card there for Jack Armson. And a dangerous free kick to follow for Sydney FC.
Really difficult. Robbie Mack, Joe Lolly, Luke Bratton, all three would fancy themselves from here.
And more work to be done from Anthony Buzanis, real estate agent by day, footballer by night. Like so many of these APIA players, football is the second job. Semi-professional side with a professional past. Won the Waratah Cup back in 2017 with APIA. Buzanis, 27 years of age now. And it's Lolly, and it's straight down the middle. One of the easier ones for Anthony Buzanis to deal with today. Adamson just getting away from Sean Simons, Josh's older brother by a year. And now Mack. It might yet fall. Wood back for Robbie Mack. It's well played off the post. Buzanis got just enough on it. And now Sydney come again with Lolly. The Rabone across, only as far as Aquino. And Sydney FC getting closer and closer. Lolly again, early cross for Wood over the crossbar.
Well, a busy minute or so for Patrick Wood. He's set Lolly up beautifully. Great save from Buzanis. And then when Lolly puts the ball back on for the striker to do his real business, Patrick Wood just couldn't capitalise. It's a great chance.
Sydney FC showing more endeavour, more desire at the start of this second half. Oh, Guatemala's ball back was underhit. Adamson settles things for Sydney FC again. Already 4 shots in this second half in 7 minutes for Sydney FC. And that effort off the post as well. Buzanis denying Robbie Mack. Romero looking for the little flick, no way through. Sydney FC come again. Quick feet from Caceres. Oh, nicely done, Anthony Caceres! Oh, superb goal! Classy finish from Anthony Caceres. And the goal, you have to say, has been coming in the end, in the 9th minute of the second half. Caceres finds a way through.
Well, when he's doing his thing, he makes football look so easy. It's the mark of a great player. He picks the ball up deep. He just skips past one. But a feint to sell Simons to beat the second player, and then Caceres with the whole goal to aim at, threads the ball past Pizanis and inside the right-hand post. A beautiful goal from a fine player. And the damn wall has broken every sign that was going to happen since the second half resumed. Sydney clear by a goal.
And APIA's hopes of a third famous cup set have been dealt a blow early in this second half. Now we'll see if they can respond. Adamson does well in the challenge with Sean Simons, who's wrestling for everything. Josh Simons with the header. Okino. That's nicely played. Gets it back from Simons. Inside with Romero now. Carinella. And now Askew hits it well. Always rising, and Andrew Redmayne not called upon.
That's a wonderful effort from APIA to come straight back after conceding the goal. It's their best move of the match. Beautiful interplay, with the main charge being led by Messina. And then Askew again, continuing to impress. Can't keep his shot on target.
Lolly wins it back, exchanges passes with Mack. Caceres enjoying himself. Made light of the difficult conditions, didn't he?
Treacherous conditions here, Robbie, treacherous. Almost anti-football.
Here he is again, Anthony Caceres. Lolly, nice first touch to take him away from Kino. Caceres takes over again. APIA showing them plenty of respect on the edge of the box. Carinella wins it back as Lolly just got tangled in his own quick feet. They need to show a little more urgency, APIA. And they've got nothing to lose. That's for sure, in their hunt for the treble. We'll see now how festive those celebrations were after securing the New South Wales NPL Championship on Sunday. The expected goals reflected on the scoreboard. Sydney have been the better side. Sydney 13 shots, 6 on target. That effort from Askew, which fizzed over the crossbar, just the 4th effort from the NPL side. Caceres. You feel that a fair few of those touches in the opposition box have come in this second half already as well. It's been far more cutting edge from Sydney FC. That's nicely done by the centre-back, the young centre-back, Girdwood Reich. Here's again with Rodwell. Mack. Ball in, one for Wood to try and chase. APIA get it clear. There's a little ball through from Simons, overhit for Romero. Either side of the hour mark in our 3 matches, and Gold Coast United almost taking the lead there. There was a shout for a pen, turned away against Josh Risdon there. Still scoreless between the Gold Coast Knights and Western United, and still Heidelberg United 2 in Sydney's West. Mount Druitt Town Rangers 0 in that 3rd match. Looking to join in the Australia Cup quarterfinals, Brisbane Roar, Melbourne City, Western Sydney Wanderers, and then 2 more NPL sides, the Metro Stars from South Australia and the Melbourne Knights. Last year we had Sydney United and the Oakley Cannons in the semi-finals, 2 NPL sides in the semi-finals. Sydney United becoming the first NPL side through to the final of the Australia Cup. The little ball over the top for Caceres will be no problem for Buzanis. In the end it was MacArthur Bulls under Dwight York at the time that secured the win by 2-0. Unfortunately for the Bulls, it was not a sign of things to come that season for the Bulls or for Dwight York. Sydney FC right in control now of this one. Steve Corica would certainly love a second goal. Keely Adamson trying to get the better of Michael Kuta. Edward Wright can only find Adrian Aquino. Armson, no way past Corey Holman. Sean Simons has done well. Accelerates, bundled over by Luke Bratton. He's asking what that was about.
Shoulder-to-shoulder bump at best, really.
Not much in it.
Not a lot. And Simons is acknowledging he got a freebie there. His endeavour was rewarded. They can look at the bright side.
He'll be even more pleased if they put this in the back of the net. Armson and Kuta, 14 and 21, standing over it. Now it's just the left back, Michael Kuta. And it comes near post. There's the big central defender, Josh Simons. His brother won the free kick.
Number 16, Sean Simmons.
And it's Sean Simons who's coming off.
Replaced by number 17, Rory Jordan.
And it's Rory Jordan who's coming into the game now. Another player with A-League experience. He was at the Jets last year. And now he comes into the contest. He's got one A-League appearance to his name. It was 2 seasons ago with MacArthur. 13 minutes against Melbourne Victory back in the 21-22 season. And 6 goals this year, along with 5 assists, so an attacking option off the bench in Jordan. Here he is, first touch, taking on Adamson. Positive football, but very well defended as well. He's back and gets a touch against Lolly, just enough. Marinella with Askew. gets there. I think he's won the touch as well off Michael Kuda, who claiming he didn't get the last touch, but it looked like he did. To Redmayne. Woodreich just putting his foot on the ball there and didn't really have an option going forward. They've handed over the ball to Andrew Redmayne's clearance. And if APIA need any extra motivation, they need just look at the scoreboard. They're only a goal behind. This crowd would love to get behind their team if they showed them just a little bit more endeavour to get back on level terms here.
Yeah, they just need to find that little bit of warmth. They've just looked half a yard off. They've been well organised and they've had some promising moments, but really just half a yard off speed-wise to really hurt Sydney. Reaction times just not quite with the same sharpness. But they're still in it, well and truly, maybe.
For now, Lolly, or perhaps not. Patrick Wood with a crisp finish through the legs of Anthony Bouzanis. Played in by Joe Lolly, who's been at the heart of just about everything good for Sydney FC. And now the A-League side are well and truly on their way. With 25 minutes left to play, they lead APIA by 2-0.
Yeah, it's a good finish. Joe Lolly's been the constant thorn in the side. Kuda, again, was a little bit off as the ball was arriving at Joe Lolly. And then slipped again. He couldn't recover. The laneway was open. The ball put through the laneway by Joe Lolly with great expertise. And the finish was an expert one as well from Patrick Wood.
Not quite between the legs, but a clinical finish from Wood.
Replaced by number 38.
He was on the score sheet against the Mariners in the round of 32 as well. So goals in back-to-back cup games for him. And another change with Yanni Nicolaou coming into the game. For APIA in a right-back position. Askew's moved to left-back. That's him there with that header away, the number 23. So Michael Kuda on that yellow card. Just a little slip as well in the build-up to that goal when confronted by Joe Lolly. Has made way. Here goes Lolly again. Oh, looking for the run of Robert Mack.
Well, they're looking rugged at the moment, actually. APIA.
Lovely turn from Wood, who lets Mack take over. Oof! And Bouzanis could only look and stare as that one deflected just wide of his post.
I need to really work hard, APIA, in the next little period to make sure this doesn't blow out, because they're looking tired. And for the first time in the game, really looking a little bit draggled.
Bratton's ball, back post, the header from Gertwood Reich. The young central defender, palmed away by Bouzanis.
Good save from Bouzanis, comfortable one. Good header from Gertwood Reich. Rose nicely, headed strongly.
Just 19 years of age. There he is attacking that one as well. The header by Josh Simons. Bratton with Caceres. Lolly. So a foul there by Farinelli, yes, says Referee Sean Evans. Sydney FC in pre-season. They're still a couple of months out from the start of the A-League campaign. But they've grown into this match. Here's Lolly. He's done well, riding the challenge of Jordan, and it's off Askew. And out for another corner. Taken short, Caceres. Rodwell. Rodwell under pressure, a little pressure from Jason Romero. Puts it out. If APIA going to set up a grandstand finish here, they need a goal sooner rather than later. Perhaps it can happen here. Armisen hits it, and it stung the palms of Redmayne. Here he is again, looking for a little 1-2 on the edge of the box. Caceres, beautifully done. Patrick Wood's touch, just too heavy. Not an easy one as he tried to take it in his stride.
No, not easy at all. And nor was a save from Redmayne. He's got a beaut left foot on him, Jack Armisen. Just had that bit of swerve, which Andrew Redmayne worked that bit harder.
Oliver Lavali with the goal for Western United. One of the new faces in John Aloisi's side. And so the A-League team have the lead against the Gold Coast Knights.
Looked like it could have been an own goal.
Yeah, maybe off Jaden Walker, number 2.
And that, as best we've been able to keep an eye on it, and as words come through, is unfortunate for the Gold Coast Knights. They've had a lot of great moments, probably the majority of the goal moments by reports.
Well, APIA can't have too many complaints so far in this one, as Jack Stewart's effort curls beyond the top left-hand corner without requiring any work from Andrew Redmayne. They've been largely reduced to those sort of speculative efforts in this contest, barring that last real effort from Armisen, their best strike of the match. For APIA, that is. They trail by 2-0. There you see it, 17 shots to 6. Just the one on target, as they're being outnumbered at the back. Wood's goal won't count as the flag is up for offside.
That's disappointing for Sydney and for Patrick Wood, young striker. The way APIA are really struggling at the moment, there's a potential feast on for him.
Just about a yard, half a yard offside. Let's see changes coming on the Sydney bench. Like a triple change coming for Steve Corica. Marinella. Good challenge, Caceres. Releasing back. Caceres still full of running. Rutino with Rory Jordan. Low. Jordan again. Bratton wins it back though. No way past Simons for Lolly. Low again. With just over 15 minutes left to play in regulation time. Those changes come now. And it's the young guns. Mitch Glasson wearing the number 19. Jaden Kucharski, the number 25, and number 3, Aaron Gerd, who we saw a lot of last season, particularly when Alex Wilkinson was injured right at the start of the campaign. Aaron Gerd was thrown in at the deep end.
Sydney FC coming off, number 6, Jack Rodwell, number 12, Corey Holman, and number 14, Patrick Wood.
Holman
number
and
3,
Wood
Aaron Gerd,
all making way.
Glasson, number 25, Jaden Kucharski.
Mitch Glasson comes from a sporting family. Dad was an Olympian in lawn bowls. Is that a Commonwealth? Commonwealth Games.
I don't know how many bowling greens there are in Africa. Maybe a lot, but it's definitely a Commonwealth Games sport.
Here he is. A nice touch, looking to accelerate. He's got Kucharski screaming for it outside him. Drives it back across the face of goal.
Tantalising from Kucharski. Maybe this is going to be a big season for him. He's got so much talent. Tells that story of a lot of Aussie youngsters having to wait their turn behind bigger name imports, etc. He can light up a field. Jaden Kucharski knows where the goal is. This is quite a tidy offering. Glasson might have got the jack high there.
Askew diving in. Here is Kucharski. These APIA players will know him well from his time in NPL with the Sydney FC youth team as the header. Oh, great stop. Robbie Mack cuts it back across, and somehow it's not an own goal off Guatemala. But another little cameo from Kucharski there driving through.
Yeah, good save. And Robbie Mack wonders how. It's a really, really good save. The more you look at it from Vazanis.
Kucharski couldn't get the telling touch. Either Mitch Glasson, but Robbie Mack was also on the score sheet in the round of 32. Couldn't add to it there. Stewart, he's done well. Rory Jordan was just coming inside though.
Yeah, and I fancy just mistimed his run. Just went a little bit early. Did Rory Jordan. He's quite sharp on his feet, actually. And had he just maintained that composure and could have received the ball a little more comfortably, he might have done some damage. 2-1 changes things completely. Sydney haven't been able to put it away just yet.
APIA unable to get it there. It's with Jordan though. Drives it back in, or Redmayne comes and goes back. Was there a hand there from Girdwood Reich? Offside. Well, that was a little heart-in-mouth moment for Sydney FC.
Substitution for APIA Leichhardt coming off is number 9, Jason Romero.
Changes for APIA.
And at number 4, Josh Simmons.
Josh Simmons, Simon Simmons making way.
Replaced by number 6, Baracino, and number 3, Paul Gillett.
I don't know about this as being offside, just quietly.
Yeah.
And then there is a case for handball. That's a huge call in a non-VAR competition, of course.
It's come off Simmons.
The initial offside looked dodgy to me. I didn't see it at all, not from those replays. So perhaps in balance, Sydney have dodged one there. 2-1 makes things very, very interesting. And they, of course, been awarded the penalty and not the offside.
Still would have had to score it.
Yes,
but
all that. There was a few dominoes to fall, but it did look a clear case for a penalty.
Kucharski goes again. The cross towards Glasson. Here's Lolly with Adamson. Gets it onto the left. Paul Galimi has come on wearing the number 3 shirt. Just 2 starts for him in this MPL season. 29-year-old is Lolly to the back post. Good, Woodreich again. Jack Stewart, the lone striker for APIA. From defending that corner anyway. Rory Jordan fouled by Kucharski. The other change, Anthony Sparacino, wearing the number 6. Going on into an advanced midfield role alongside Aquino and Farinella. Askew up the line with Rory Jordan. That's well played. Armson. Stewart can't get there though. Switch of play for Askew. Kucharski takes over. It opens up for him down this right-hand side. Ooh. And Galimi, who lined him up from a long way out, and didn't miss. Latest player into the book. Here's Adamson trying to jink his way through. Sparacino with a little touch for Jordan. Just wouldn't fall for Jack Armson. Clearly Adamson's done well at right back today. With Ryan Grant to return. The right back stocks looking healthy for Sydney FC. Lolly. Caceres ball towards Kucharski. He put the little nudge on Askew first and then leapt.
There's a good, with that sort of pressure on him, Askew did well again. As the ball was scooped in, mainly by Caceres. And defended that well under pressure.
Oh, Askew just hesitated there as the ball got away from him. Here he is again, back with his keeper. 7 minutes to play plus stoppage time. Girdwood Reich with a nice little touch for Lolly. Glasson. Another substitution coming now, and it's another very exciting youngster.
Substitution Sydney FC coming off.
Joey's fans will recognise him, Nathan Manatides, who's just signed a 3-year deal with Sydney FC, scored 2 goals in the Under-17 Asian Cup. Off the bench, an exciting winger. Sydney FC announcing they beat off 8 A-League suitors for his signature. A chance to stretch his legs there. Askew in front position. Another youngster to come out of Adelaide as well, Nathan Amanatides. Glasson. There's a lively player, Jaden Kucharski, coming looking for the ball. We've got a lot of attacking options on the pitch at the moment. Amanatides gets to the byline, cross in, comes again. One way, then the other. The cross cleared. Bratton driven in. Oh, and he's just felt behind that left hamstring. As soon as he hit that.
Well, good direct, exciting play from Amanatides. We watched it in green and gold in the Joey's efforts in Asia, in Thailand. Just keep an eye on that. Slight twinge, if it is that, for Luke Bratton. Need to be kept under observation, you'd imagine.
There's Joel King. Quiet night for Joel King at left back. Caceres. He scored.
We'd like to extend our appreciation to Subway
opening goal.
team and Marta for their ongoing support of the
That
Australian
effort
Cup.
from Bratton. He just felt behind that left
Left
thigh immediately as Amanatides getting down to the byline. Less than 4 minutes to go in regulation time. Bratton, he seems to be moving freely enough. Maybe just felt a little twinge. Probably won't be taking any more left-footed shots from outside the box. Is there time for APIA to fight back in this one? Jordan's ball. Oh, Redmayne comes and does well under pressure from Jack Armson. Aaron Gerd with Kucharski. King with Girdwood Reich, who had to adjust well. Finds Keely Adamson. Galimi picked up an early booking, claiming Lolly went to ground to her easily there. Taken quickly. Glasson looking for another free kick. Baronella. Fouled by Kucharski. Well, as it stands, Heidelberg will be joining the Metro Stars and the Melbourne Knights as MPL sides in the quarterfinals. Western United still doing the damage against the Gold Coast Knights. Goes Lolly, just playing it through towards Glasson. Flag up for offside. And we have a third goal now for Heidelberg.
Substitution for Sydney FC.
Amir
Number 10,
Abdallah with a cool finish in the first minute of stoppage time at the end of the 90. Heidelberg are on their way to the quarters as Sydney make a final change. Matthew Scarcella coming on to replace Joe Lolly, who's got through an excellent 89.5 minutes. If you look at it in that respect for his pre-season preparation. Scarcella, who returned to Sydney FC last season after a spell in Greece with Xanthi. Signing on for the new campaign. Caceres with a great run. Glasson shoots and saves. On the turn by Bouzanis, who's had a very busy second half.
3 minutes.
Yeah, they've had a couple of moments with 3 minutes to go now of stoppage time, as indicated by the referee. They've had a couple of moments, APIA. Have found it really difficult to impose themselves generally, and the second half has been pretty much all Sydney, with more chances than the couple they've got. That potential penalty claim just comes into sharper focus now for APIA. I know there was a few things that had to happen for them to be awarded the penalty, but it looked like it could have been. And 2-1, they get a shot, a real shot of energy.
The crowd get that shot of energy
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. And outside of that, there really hasn't been a lot to stir them. They've been strong.
Well, fair play Sydney FC, who denied them that chance to believe, to hope.
And there's been that class differential as well.
Well, a couple of minutes left here at Leichhardt Oval. There's to be no third famous cup set for APIA here. Luke Bratton, Sydney captain. Still going strong after that little twinge behind the left hamstring. And we've had the sealer on the Gold Coast as well. Western United, the youngster Matthew Grimaldi, just dinking the ball through, despite the best efforts of Shilford Dais to clear off the line. Western United 2, Gold Coast Knights 0. Heidelberg, it's over there. They have won their round of 16 clash. Yellow card for Sparacino. With that frustrated little kick out at Kucharski. And just seconds remaining now for Andrew Redmayne. Will there even be time to take it? Well, there wasn't, I don't think. The final whistle goes from Sean Evans. Second half goals from Anthony Caceres and Pat Wood, meaning no treble for APIA Leichhardt, but their fantastic season still has one more date in the Waratah Cup on the 10th of September. For Sydney FC, their pre-season heads to the quarterfinals of the Australia Cup. One of 5 A-League men's teams into the last 8 to go with 3 NPL sides as well. It started wet and windy, and it finished a disappointing result for the home side. But Sydney FC too strong on the night. Sydney FC 2, APIA Leichhardt 0. Well, Pat Wood Got a couple of early goals last season. Excellent for him to get on the score sheet. Could have had a couple more. Sydney FC denied a couple of goals as well by Anthony Bouzanis in the APIA goal, with a couple of fantastic saves. There was nothing the experienced APIA players could do to try and turn things around. Jason Romero, for example. They're players that have that A-League experience, perhaps just coming too soon after that big night for them as well in the New South Wales NPL, where they secured the championship with that 3-1 win over St George. Take nothing away from what has been an excellent season. Well, let's head down pitch side now with Daniel Garb, who's with Luke Bratton.
That I am. Thanks very much, Robbie. The new Sydney FC captain through to the quarterfinals of the Australia Cup. Before we get on to the game, we're a bit concerned there for a moment. You struck a beauty on your left, but then you felt for the hammy straight away. Is all okay?
I wouldn't call it a beauty. It was more like a worm burner, but yeah, it's all good. Just a bit tightness, probably cramp, but yeah, all good.
Good to hear. How relieving is it to, this stage of your campaign, basically pre-season, against such a good side in APIA, to get through to the final 8?
Yeah, obviously it's they're the premiers for a reason. They're a fantastic team, and we always knew it was going to be tough. And the longer it went on 0-0, the more chance they got one, more chance they have of getting one. So it was professional in the end. A lot better second half. I think we controlled the game more, but yeah, plenty to work on.
We fully expect a flurry of incomings to Sydney FC in some key positions. So to have wins like this and get some young players, some exposure like this before those players come in, how encouraging is that?
Yeah, it's good. The young boys that came on did a great job. And yeah, we got a lot of young boys. Like you said, we got to sign a few players. So yeah, it's looking good. We got to keep working hard, and yeah, it'll come.
How are you finding the captaincy?
Yeah, it's good. Good. Big shoes to fill, but yeah, it's good.
All the best for the season. Well done tonight.
Cheers, guys.
Luke Bratton there will now bring in a former Sydney FC player and a key part of the APIA Leichhardt side, and Themba Muata-Malo. Themba, commiserations on tonight. You've had such a wonderful season, but what was the difference this evening?
Well, at the end of the day, like they train every day. They're in a professional environment, and in the first half we were fresh. I think we looked good. We held our shape pretty well. Played some good football at times when we got the ball. But as the game goes on, they're training every day. Their fitness is going to come through. We've had a very long season. Obviously, the longest NPL season to date, with 30 rounds. And yeah, we got one more game now with the Waratah Cup. But yeah, look, I can't fault the boys. Like we've worked really hard all season, and obviously getting the premiership. And then yeah, this is always going to be a tough one against a really, really good side. And Sydney FC is one of the best teams in the A-League, so it's always going to be tough.
You've spoken about the physical aspect of it. Does it start to get gruelling mentally when you're playing so many big games in the league and the Cup, now the Australia Cup? You're not full-timers, of course. Can it become a little bit taxing mentally too?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think that's the biggest difference, really. Like you're only training like 3 times a week, and obviously pretty much 90, if not 95% of the boys all work at the same time as well. So, working, then going to training late nights, and then backing up for the weekend, week after week, it does wear you down a little bit. And they're good footballers. They're in a professional environment, so their sole job is to train and then play on the weekend. So they're obviously going to be ready in tip-top shape for those games. And we're just trying to push through at the end of the day, which is yeah, it is what it is, really.
At the same time, it must be a thrill to play on a stage like this whenever you get the chance.
Yeah, 100%. I miss it. I miss it a lot. Being at this level, playing these big games against really, really top players. But you've seen some of the boys out there tonight. You've got Jason Romero, who was in the A-League this season even. Jack Armson had a stellar season, probably one of the best seasons I've seen in NPL levels from a midfielder. So there's top players in here. It's just about getting that chance, going up to the A-League level, and then being in that environment. There, it's just a matter of time to get onto that level and then show how good they are, really.
Thanks, Themba. Commiserations on tonight, but all the best for the Waratah Cup. Themba Muata-Malo from APIA Leichhardt there. Sydney FC victors tonight and through to the quarterfinals.
Thank you, Garby. Yeah, well, you heard from the skipper there, just that professionalism that they face when you come up against a team like that. I mean, is that just what you guys noticed as well, Broski? Just as Harps even mentioned in the call, just that half step faster. It kind of makes a big difference, especially in the second half. The rain stopped and the level just went up from Sydney, didn't it?
It did, and look, it is what you expect. You expect in moments, certain moments in the game that quality will shine through. And look, there's not many better here than Anthony Caceres. I mean, we highlighted Ninkovic and the quality he had yesterday.